A married couple, Marina and Alejandro, lived in a suburb of Valencia. Marina was 32 and worked remotely as a designer, while Alejandro, a couple of years older, was an engineer at a construction company. They had been living together for 5 years, three of them married. Their apartment was small but bright, with no carpets and no unnecessary furniture. The only source of constant mess was their cat Luna, snow white, fluffy, and shedding with such dedication that it seemed to be her full-time job. Alejandro's mother, Dona Carmen, had been wary of her daughter-in-law from the very beginning. She disliked literally everything: the way Marina spoke, the way she laughed, the way she cooked, and the way she reacted too calmly to criticism. At the same time, Carmen skillfully played the role of a caring and fragile woman. Any conversation that involved disagreement instantly turned into a performance, clutching her chest, taking valerian drops, and delivering dramatic monologues about ungrateful children and a broken heart. She refused to call a doctor on principle, claiming that it didn't matter anymore. In such situations, Alejandro usually took a neutral stance. Sometimes he cautiously tried to defend his wife, but every such attempt ended with his mother's tears and a heavy sense of guilt that she hung on her son like an anchor. Eventually, he chose silence more and more often, hoping that things would somehow resolve themselves. When a robot vacuum cleaner appeared in their home, Marina was thrilled. The decision to buy it was made together. The device was expensive, but daily cleaning because of the cat hair was exhausting. They had seen how it worked at friends' homes, read reviews, and weighed the pros and cons. In the end, they decided that peace of mind and free time were worth the cost. Now it was enough to set a schedule and return in the evening to a clean apartment without dragging a vacuum cleaner from corner to corner. Carmen was not pleased with the news. She pursed her lips and remarked with icy politeness that a real housewife can manage without toys, and that cleanliness never comes from laziness. Alejandro tried to object, saying the apartment was clean and the device worked perfectly. His mother waved him off and sarcastically added that he was simply blind, living with such a wife. From that moment on, Carmen's visits became especially unpleasant. Every visit turned into a search for flaws. A crumb under the table, a grain of sand by the doorway, a clump of hair in the corner. With a triumphant look, she pointed at the floor and sneered that your machine doesn't see everything, while Marina, apparently, couldn't care less as long as she didn't have to work herself. Marina was baffled. Before every visit, the apartment was cleaned, the robot was running, and all surfaces were wiped down. And yet Carmen kept finding dirt. At first, Marina thought she was simply missing something. Then she blamed Luna for instantly spreading hair everywhere. But the feeling that something was off wouldn't go away. The truth was revealed by accident. One day, Marina came home earlier than usual and heard voices in the living room. She stopped by the door to reply to a message, and at that moment she saw Carmen, convinced no one was watching, open her bag, take out a small bundle, and carefully pour something onto the floor near the sofa. Marina walked in immediately, calmly, without shouting, but loudly enough to make Carmen flinch. She asked what exactly was going on. Dona Carmen became confused and tried to explain herself, but the trash on the floor and the open bag spoke for themselves. It was a mixture of sand, crumbs, and cat hair, clearly brought from outside. After a short but firm conversation, Marina asked her to leave and not to return without an invitation. That evening, she told her husband everything. Alejandro didn't believe it at first. It was hard for him to accept that his own mother was capable of such behavior. But the facts, his wife's calmness, and memories of the constant discoveries eventually convinced him. Carmen no longer came to their apartment. She called, complained to relatives, and told stories about a cruel daughter-in-law and an ungrateful son, but the doors remained closed to her. For the first time, Alejandro took a clear stand, even though it wasn't easy for him. Marina no longer searched for compromises. Sometimes, in order to protect yourself and your family, you have to accept a simple truth. Not every conflict can be resolved peacefully, and not every person wants peace. And cleanliness in a home, as it turned out, is not only about a vacuum cleaner, but about boundaries.